Well, welcome, Erin, to Cardiff Heights Baptist Church remotely on this Thursday night rather than Sunday. Wasn't meant to be, wasn't in God's plan, but we came up with something otherwise, and we've been able to get together for this. So I'm really thankful. Thank you for joining us in this remote way.
Look, I wish I were there. I'm sorry I'm not, but grateful for the technology, and I will come up and visit. I promise I will come meet you. I'll come preach again, but this is how it is at the moment.
Very good. I hope so too, and I'm sure we'll be able to take you up on that offer in the future. But before we do, let's get through some of these questions. And most people, I think, on Facebook, when they fill in the about sections about themselves, generally, I think, don't really spend as much time, or not necessarily spend as much time, but be careful about what they put in. I suspect as much as you have, or maybe you just wrote this off the top of your head. But anyway, that's way too much of a blurb of an intro. So I'm just going to read what you have written, because this is supposed to be an introduction to you. So you've said, I am a perpetual student, can't wait to finish. I have a bit of a thing for boats. I love to sing at the top of my lungs. I like to make up words, portmanteau anyone, drop them into everyday vernacular and see what happens. I love my friends and family, but I'm very dodgy with that whole staying in contact thing. I like to play poet. I'm overdressed for every occasion. Then there's the shoes. Now that is quite the intro. Would you care to expand on any of that for us?
So I wanted to say, in my defense, I wrote that a very long time ago, and I thought it had disappeared from Facebook. Because you know how most people, when you first sign up for Facebook, like 15 years ago, the layout was different, everything was different, everyone was looking at it on their computers, and you had an actual bio. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to be really super honest about who I am, just put it out there. And then everything changed. Everyone looks at Facebook on their phones. You've got that little bio now. And so I honestly didn't think it existed anymore. And you dragged it out. And then I thought, actually, no, it still rings really true, even though I wrote it maybe 15 years ago. Yeah, so I'm still studying. I still can't wait to finish. I'm still really bad at staying in contact with people. So I'm good at thinking of people and praying for people, but do I actually pick up the phone and tell them that I'm thinking of them or praying for them or that they mean a lot to me? No, I just gotta wait till the universe smacks us together again. Yeah, so it still rings true. I'm still overdressed. I mean, look at these.
I was not disappointed when you hopped on and I saw those. I thought that probably makes up for the fact that we can't see your shoes, which I know would have been impressive. And we would have seen you had been delivering it, the message from that.
Hang on. I've kicked them off, but look at these things.
There you go, everyone. Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. Question 2. How did you end up being a disciple of Christ, and what has that journey been like for you?
Good question. I think maybe because I've told you before. So the short story is God told me to live in a Bible college, so I did. The long answer is I'd finished high school. I decided to go to uni in Sydney, so I'd moved from the country. I had nowhere to live. And my conscience or the Holy Spirit, someone prompted me to pray about it. So I prayed to a God that at that point I didn't believe in, and prayed about a place to live. And so by the end of this really naive prayer, I'd managed to say, okay, God, if you give me a place to live, I'll give my life to you. And so then I got a phone call from someone who had lived at Morling telling me to go live at Morling. I didn't know what they were. And so I called them up and they told me that they were the Baptist Bible College of New South Wales. And I just thought, God just told me to live in a Bible college.
Yep.
So I did. Yeah.
Very, very good.
Yeah, so then I studied at Morling. I went back and studied a second degree at Morling. I'm now doing my PhD at Morling. So it's been a long journey. Turns out I really like learning about this God I didn't believe in. And now I've basically devoted my life to teaching other people about this God I didn't believe in.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that snippet of what is a fantastic story. Question 3 and the last one, why we've got you doing this message. Why are you so passionate about Song of Songs?
So many reasons. So one of my other degrees is in poetry. So I grew up on poetry. My parents would read poetry to me. I grew up writing poetry. I thought that was a normal thing to do. And then when I discovered God and discovered that the Bible's full of poetry, I was like, oh, I'm going to study this poetry. Then I discovered that in the Bible is this amazing love poetry, and that's my favorite kind of poetry. So obviously I was going to be just delighted and obsessed with Song of Songs. And then I discovered, once I kind of got to know churches a bit, that churches can be a little bit awkward about love. Who knew? And so it turns out I asked a bunch of different people, so friends at church, different churches, asked a bunch of people at college, how many of you have ever heard a sermon on Song of Songs? Crickets. And so I thought, okay, that's another reason to be really passionate about this book of the Bible, is that even though plenty of people have written about it, so commentators, scholars love Song of Songs, because it's really difficult to translate and interpret. So people just have a field day with it. But for some reason, that just isn't translating into our churches. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons I'm really passionate about Song of Songs.
Excellent. And no doubt some of those will also come out in what you actually are going to, in the message that you're going to bring us.
Yeah. I won't, no spoilers.
No spoilers. Okay. I'm not going to say, give us one of those, because you're going to say them anyway. I'm also impressed. You're attempting to come up with and share, well, you've come up with them, but share 14 in a sermon. Like, is this a 14-point sermon?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, why preach a traditional 3-point sermon when you can do 14?
That's right. That's right. Surely 14 and 3.
Pretty sure I will say that in the sermon. A lot of challenge.
And I hope once everyone has heard it, that we will all also agree with you and go, a 14-point sermon is far better.
There will be a test afterwards. You need to remember all 14 points.
There we go. Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, we look forward to being able to hear it, and we thank you for all the effort that you have put into the preparation of it. So thank you, Erin.
Thank you for having me.
Yep, and we look forward to actually having you in person when that's possible in the future.
All right, I look forward to that too.